Podcast. And now, coming to the mic, your host, Jalen Walker.
Welcome to Pound for Pound, the MMA podcast. I'm your host, Jalen Walker. If you're listening to the podcast via Spotify, Apple Music, or any other streaming platform, please make sure and check us out on YouTube and click that subscribe button and also that notification button. Much appreciated. I don't know what to say. I don't want to say I told you guys, but I have to. Dustin the Diamond Poirier completely destroyed Conor McGregor last week at UFC 257, knocking him out cold in round 2. I tried to tell you guys, I mean, he was coming for the heat, and boy, oh boy, did he bring it. The whole night was filled with incredible moments and fights, including Bellator Veteran Iron Michael Chandler successfully knocking out 6th-ranked Dan the Hangman Hooker in the first round of his UFC debut. Absolutely incredible. Also today, we are joined by one of the UFC's newest fighters and someone to definitely look out for this year. We'll talk to him and break it all down and much, much more. But first, a sponsor for a word from our sponsor at Manscaped. Manscaped is the official trimmer of the UFC. And it's not only representing the UFC, but also represents UFC stars, including Max Holloway, Francis Ngannou, and Sugar Sean O'Malley. Manscaped is changing the grooming game with the Perfect Package 3.0. The Perfect Package 3.0 includes the premier Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer. The ceramic blade and skin-safe technology is designed to reduce nicks or tugs on your fellas down low. For all of our international listeners out there, they just launched their life-changing products in the UK, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and the EU. Time to hop on the Manscaped movement. Inside the Perfect Package 3.0, you'll also get the Crop Preserver deodorant for below the belt, and it's anti-chafing and moisturizing, which is also accompanied by the Crop Reviver toner, which is used with aloe vera infused cologne for below the belt grooming. For a limited time, subscribe and get not one but 2 free gifts: the Shed Travel Bag, which is a $39 value, and a patented high-performance anti-chafing Manscaped Boxer Briefs. Get 20% off at manscaped.com with code POUND4POUND. That's 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com with code POUND4POUND. And as we've been mentioning, I know I've been a little late. I've been having some technical issues trying to get the system set up for the contest, but we are going to be giving away the Manscaped cologne, so please stay tuned. We are going to give this away, and also some nose trimmers and some other products from Manscaped. I'm going to try to do it on a weekly basis. But yeah, it's just something I want to do and to give back to the people that are listening. But yeah, we'll begin to that here very, very soon. But first, my guest on the show today fights out of Ground Control Academy in Baltimore, Maryland. He competed on Dana White's Contender series twice last year, where he defeated both Chase Gibson and Sherrad Blackledge via unanimous decision. He received a UFC contract on his second appearance, and we are all eager to see him in action in his UFC debut. I'd like to welcome to the podcast Tucker Top Gun Lutz.
Hey, what's up, bro? Nice talking to you again, man.
Hey, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. A lot's happened since last time we talked. First off, congrats on getting your UFC contract. From Shogun Fights to the UFC, how does it feel?
It feels good, man. It feels good. A lot of years in the hustle. You know, I've been fighting since 2012, since I was 18 years old. So it was good, you know, but I've kind of I was buzzing a little bit for a couple days, but we don't celebrate for too long. So, back to business, man.
For
Back to
sure, for
business.
sure. I mean, yeah, it's the mindset to have. How is everything? How's life? How's the family?
Everything's good. Family's good. Wife is all good. So, yeah, man. Just been getting back to the grind. That's pretty much it. Same old over here.
For sure, for sure. Um, I wanted to mention, your Ravens, Baltimore Ravens, actually ended up having a decent season, but they
Right.
fell short to the Bills in the playoffs. I remember we were talking, and you weren't too keen on them last time we talked because they weren't looking too great at the moment. But I mean, yeah, man, it was a good run. The Bills are a great team. But how do you feel about it? I just wanted to
Yeah, it
ask
was.
it.
I mean, that the last half of the regular season. I thought that was something special. We put
Yeah, for
together
sure.
a lot of heart, a lot of grit, and we're blowing teams out. And in the Bills game, that was just. I mean, I feel like sometimes we just got bested. There
Yeah.
wasn't a whole lot of crazy. Obviously, the wind was a major factor for the field goals, but it was. I didn't think that it was a blowout by any stretch, and I thought it was a reasonable defeat. But it was. I mean, that second half of the year was something else. So I thought it
Exactly.
was. I thought it was great.
For sure, for sure. Yeah. I mean, all the games that they had, because you guys are in our division, of course I'm watching you guys also, but they were very interesting to see the team come together, but I'm not going to lie to you, I was kind of rooting for the Bills just because it's been so long and it's kind of like that underdog story, but like they got destroyed.
Right. Who did they played the Chiefs? The Bills
Yeah.
did last
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
Because I really once the Ravens are out, I don't follow
Yeah,
football
I
at
feel
all.
it was a good game, and I mean, I'm excited for the Super Bowl. You think the up and coming goat of the NFL's quarterback will beat the goat at the moment right now?
Yeah, I'm hoping that the Chiefs will win. Like I won't watch that game. I don't really give a shit about
You're not gonna watch
football
the
once
Super
the
Bowl?
Ravens are. Nah, man, I'll probably be asleep by halftime.
I feel, I
But
feel it. It's Tom. It could be Tom Brady's final Super Bowl, though, man.
that means so little to me the older I
I
get.
feel it. I feel it.
So
But he's a legend.
uh,
No one's ever done it like him.
whatever, man.
Wouldn't
Fuck
that be
Tom
like
Brady.
7 rings at this point? That's ridiculous.
Kudos to him.
Yeah,
Kudos to
for
him.
sure though. So you're still fighting at a Ground Control Academy. How's the gym and everything down there?
Jim's good, man. Really good. Numbers are really strong. Class size are strong. We got to be like I don't know what it's like where you are, but we have people signing in for every class because they can only be so big. But
Yeah,
membership's going up. Our facility is fairly new. It's only about a year old. We're in another spot for a long time and got a new facility the end of 2019. But gym's going really strong. Anyone in the Baltimore, Reisterstown area, come check us out. Ground Control Owings Mills. But it's going really good.
for sure, for sure. I had to ask you: is there any new? You said there's a lot of people coming in now. Is there any people you've seen that you think could make a run in MMA that have a chance? Any new people on the rise?
No, not new, but I mean, our fight team is super strong. I got a bunch of teammates: Pat Rivera, Skylar Sudo, who's a teammate of mine who just fought on Bellator. Like I want to say end of September. Came
Yeah.
up short in the decision, but took the fight on short notice. Jesse Stern's a teammate of mine who I think could make a run in the UFC.
What's his name
Uh,
again? My
his
apologies.
name's Jesse Stern. He just fought CFFC
Okay,
in
Jesse
Philly
Stearns.
not long ago.
What division?
But he's 45 and 35.
Okay, I'll have
But
to check him out.
yeah, I think there's a whole group of extremely talented kids, and there's some young bucks coming up, but it's tricky with COVID because there's obviously no amateur
Yeah,
fights going on,
yeah,
and it's like I don't know, I'm torn because I think it's soon enough if this continues, because amateurs you're getting money off spectators,
yeah,
obviously,
exactly.
that kids are going to have to start going right into lower level pros. I mean, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, but there's a couple guys on my team who are looking to make that get involved in the sport, and it's a weird time, man. So I'm hoping by the I'm not one of these guys who thinks that it's going to be normal anytime soon, but it may be like beginning of 2022 we get some type of normalcy going on,
Yeah, for sure. Do you think that the pandemic and the circumstances that we were in today's world have completely changed the route for these fighters going into the UFC, Bellator, and stuff like that? Do you think there'll be a permanent change? Because from my knowledge, a lot of these amateur fights sometimes are mom and pop, like they're local, and they're not gonna be able to bounce back from it. Like, do you think there's gonna be a huge impact in that, and like some fighters that go unseen?
It could be, man. There could be, and I fear that. But like even Shogun Fights, who John Rollo, who's the founder of Ground Control and founder of Shogun Fights, owner of Shogun Fights,
Yep,
he
yep.
puts on 3 shows a year, and in 2020 didn't have any of them, and that's a bummer, because that's a great feeder league for producing the next level of talent. So yeah, like we're in a weird spot to where it's like, who knows, like those early guys to kind of like that middle of the road, because you don't want to be going to the big leagues too quick. That's
Exactly.
what I
Exactly.
think.
You need
You see a lot
experience.
of guys. Exactly, you see a lot of the guys, not so much these days, but kind of early in their careers, MMA went got fed straight to the wolves, and
Yeah.
it's either that's a big sink or swim, and a lot of guys drown doing that shit.
Yeah.
But that's why you see a lot of boxing guys, their first 10, 15 fights are kind of cherry picked things. And now I don't think you could do that for 15 MMA fights, but I think there's some merit in that,
Exactly. Yeah.
not
For
going
sure.
straight for the jugular right off the bat.
Yeah, and my theory, and from what I see from like interviews and stuff like that, and from how people talk about it, is like you got to get slapped up a little bit early on, but you don't want to get slapped up too hard. You got to, you know what I mean? You don't want to take too much damage at first, but like some of these fighters just don't have a chin, and that's where a lot of these amateur fighters can't get past. They might be the most incredible boxer or incredible Muay Thai fighter, but they just don't got a chin. One tap on their face, they're knocked down. And I think that's one of the biggest stepping points for someone taking to the next level. If you can stay in there and put on a show, you're gonna be picked up by mostly anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of that's your training too,
Yeah.
and I think that guys are way better, kind of my generation of fighter of not having the gym wars. But I mean,
Yeah.
that's where a lot of guys lose their chin, is getting dropped in the
For
gym,
sure.
and it's scary stuff. And
You
really
think that's
only
like
get
what
one
happened
brain.
to Chuck Liddell and all the veterans? Like, because there was a point where Chuck Liddell could take a fury of punches, man, and then just later on, like a couple years before he retired, just a hook could put him down.
Yeah, I think it's probably the training, and he had gotten knocked out multiple times in his
Yeah.
fights, and it's a defense mechanism, because your
Yep.
brain knows that you're about to be inducing some serious trauma, so
Yeah.
it'll shut the lights off earlier, from what I understand,
Yeah. Yeah.
which makes sense to me. But
No, for sure.
yeah, guys need to save themselves, man. Like that's what you saw with that Holloway fight. He said he didn't do any type of sparring.
Yeah.
Uh,
He didn't do sparring
I
at
don't
all
know.
for his camp.
Yeah, I don't know if I would do. I feel like for me, the timing. For me anyway, everyone's different. I really sharpen my timing up from live goes.
Yeah.
But that was an
100%.
incredible performance, man, and
Dude.
especially taking into
Whew.
consideration that he didn't do any sparring either.
Dude, the records he broke. I was talking to Kyle Driscoll about it. The records he broke. He had 350 landed strikes when the fight ended. And when they went back and tallied it, they added an extra 100. Like
Damn.
like the dude was like DC said, he was feeling himself. He was in the mode. It's not just like a once in a lifetime thing, but it was, we got to see greatness. Like that was greatness. If you don't watch UFC or MMA and you want to know what greatness was, that was beautiful right there. To see 5 rounds
Yeah,
and to
I
see
agree.
and to see Cater, they're like taking all that, and to see him get up. I have never seen someone take so much damage and be so amped to stand up off that stool.
Right.
That's what
Yeah,
was
Cater's
blowing
an
my
animal,
mind.
man.
Dude, insane, dude. And he was just, and afterwards, apparently Dana went up to him. There's footage, and he's like, "You're going straight to the hospital, man." And he looked at him. He's like, "What do you mean? I'm cool." Like face all messed up, legs slashed, like just destroyed. But his mind,
Yeah.
he's straight. He can go another 5 rounds. That's crazy to me.
That's a different breed right there. I
For
was
sure.
honestly, it's hard to bet against Max because he's so good, but I thought that Cater had the opportunity to pull off the upset in there. But
I
boy,
thought it
was
could go
I
either
wrong.
way. I didn't think it was gonna be a dominant
Yeah,
showing from
I thought it was
Max.
gonna be,
That just
you know,
shows
five
you
round.
that Max got swindled out of that title. Because I'll preach this till the day I stop watching UFC, which would be never. That Max won that fight against Volkanovski, that second
Right.
fight,
I
100%.
agree.
They just
First one
favored
was super
the
close.
champ.
Yeah, first one is super close, but I mean, the second one, I thought that was a
Yeah,
robbery, man. I didn't think there was any doubt that he
yeah,
won.
for
Like
sure.
probably 4 rounds, at least 3.
Exactly. And the thing that sucks is that Brian Ortega is gonna come in and snatch up that title for Volkanovski, and then Max is gonna have to wait even longer because Volkanovski, I think, in the contract, unless it's a dominant showing from Brian, unless he like puts him out, it's just over. I think Volkanovski gets a rematch immediately. So
Yeah, I think that the Ortega fight's not really a good matchup for Volkanovski. I don't think because
not at
Volkanovski
all.
he likes to wrestle. Like he almost was kind of mere Chad Mendes.
Yep.
So when Volkanovski
Yep.
and Mendes fought, it was interesting.
Exactly.
But he likes to wrestle.
Exactly.
Ortega's ground game is sick,
Dude, he's
and
so good.
And Ortega looked really good on the. I only saw the highlights, but against the Korean Zombie, his stand up looked super crispy.
Dude, it was all the
So,
hair holding him back. When he shaved in the dressing room before, that was
Right.
that was the awakening for him.
Right, yeah.
Dude,
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta let it go and do some gangster shit and shave your head.
dude, it was insane. I think it was a little bit of the weight cut. He didn't have because I've heard he was like a little slouch, like really out of it leading up to the weight, and I think he was just so out of it, and he was like, and just went for it. You know, he's probably been thinking about it for a little bit, but I don't think he knew he was going to do it at that moment. I think it was just spur of the moment. But who cares, to be honest with you, because what he did against the Korean Zombie was dope.
Yep, I agree. Like I said, I only saw the highlights, but I don't think it went to the ground at all, if I remember right. I think it was
No.
5 rounds of slugging.
Korean Zombie went to the ground a lot.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
A lot, dude. What are those things back in the day? Those clown things where you could punch it and it pop back up. That's literally the Korean.
Yeah, shit, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's literally the Korean Zombie. Like it's his own craft. Like he's made just to get hit and just to wake back up. Yeah.
You ever see his WEC fight with Leonard Garcia? That was his first fight in the WEC.
I have not seen that fight.
Damn, bro, that's like one of the greatest fights of all time.
One second.
And Leonard actually won, which was I was a Leonard fan, so I was pumped about it, but it was an awful decision in hindsight.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rematch went down in the UFC.
Oh,
and
really?
Actually, and then Korean Zombie got Leonard with the twister. I think it was the very first one in the UFC.
Oh, yeah, submission round 2. Dang, he got it with 1 second left in the second round.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it's definitely worth watching.
What organization was the first fight with?
WEC, I think it was.
Okay, WEC.
When Faber fought Aldo, which was like the
only
only
okay. No, I've seen that
they did.
Okay. Were they on the main card that night, or?
I believe so, yeah. It's been years.
It was 2014. I'm 100%. Yeah, I got the whole fight right here on Fight Pass.
Yeah, they're both there. But that first one, way back when, is awesome. That's one of my favorite fights of all time.
Yeah, I love going back.
No technique at all, just fucking brawling. It was great.
Oh, I'm gonna love that. I love those type of fights. That's like one of my favorite fights of all time is Amanda Nunes versus Cyborg, because it was technique, but there was no technique. They were just swinging and seeing who could land. That was so exhilarating,
man. That really, really surprised me, that fight. I thought it was gonna sleeper.
Really? You thought Cyborg was gonna sleep Amanda?
I was super wrong with that. I really did. Yeah, I thought that she was just so dominant. I think anyone was going to be able to beat her, honestly.
Really?
I was drinking the Kool-Aid hard on Cyborg, but
I just knew when I first saw Amanda fight, like for real, and when she got the title, it was just like, holy crap! Like, she's so much better than what people thought Ronda Rousey was, and what people thought Ronda Rousey was, and how good she was, because Ronda Rousey wasn't really going up against great opponents until she went up against Holly Holm and got the holy shit knocked out of her with a foot. And we all know what I'm talking about. But at that moment, I just think there wasn't that much of competition. Amanda Nunes, she's fighting heavy hitters every time. Like, it is back to back to back the best. Throw whoever you got, Dana. Who do you think can take me down? I'm taking them all out. And that's just insane, man.
She's fighting Megan Anderson, right?
Yeah. Because that fight was supposed to
That's an
happen
interesting
December
matchup.
12th, remember? But then undisclosed medical issues with Amanda Nunes, and then I think someone else got COVID in the training group, and then they wanted to be cautious because she was supposed to fight. It was supposed to be Leon Edwards versus Khamzat for co-main, and then it was going to be Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson for the main event, which I was pumped about. And then after,
that's a good fight, man. That's a really interesting matchup.
I think Nunes got it, dude.
I agree, but I like Megan Anderson, man. She's
I do
a beast
too.
I mean, they're both beasts.
I like a lot of the women that Amanda fights. I think they're all amazing athletes, but there's just something about Amanda. She's just
my bad.
You're good. She's just a beast, man. She's so entertaining to watch. She fights to entertain. She doesn't fight. You know what I mean? She's there to have fun, but she's damn good at it, and that's what makes her so interesting to watch, I think. But yeah, there's a lot of women.
Right, complete too.
Yeah. Same thing with Angela Hill. Like, I've grown to love Angela Hill. Like, she fights constantly. She doesn't complain. If she takes a loss, she takes it on the chin and comes right back, and she's ready to fight again, like in 2 weeks. Not literally, but you know what I mean. She just fights a lot, and I really like that.
Yeah, I haven't watched much of her fights.
She's a dog, man.
Dude, it does seem like she fights like 5 or 6 times a year, which is crazy.
Yeah, and she commentates. Not commentates side, but she does the ESPN Plus stuff. So if the show's on ESPN,
analyzing.
Yeah. But yeah, man, people sleep on the women's division a lot, and it really upsets me because there's some talent in there. But the gap between everyone else and Amanda is very visible. And the same thing with Shevchenko.
I agree.
Exactly the same thing with Shevchenko in her class.
I agree. That's what I think that they should run it. I know that they fought twice, but I think that's an entertaining fight.
Yeah.
Both were pretty close, weren't they? I think the first one was super close.
Yeah.
But
I think they're waiting for that fight.
When someone wins when someone wins twice by decision, it's almost a wrap. You know what it's like, what's the point of it's hard to sell 3 fights if it's not a rubber match.
Exactly.
You know?
It's like if Stipe knocks out Ngannou, Stipe's never going to be able to go for the title again.
Yeah, that'll be that. If Stipe goes in and KOs Ngannou, or even if he beats him again.
Yeah. But this is a different breed of Ngannou, man. He's got his cardio. The first fight, he had no cardio, man. He gassed down in like 20 seconds. Because that's what he does. But I think he got some cardio now. I think he's coming in focused. And I think it's going to be a great, great matchup. I love DC, but I think Stipe versus Francis would be a way better fight than DC versus Francis if DC theoretically would have won the title and stayed in. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think this is great for the heavyweight division. I think I don't want Stipe to lose, but if Stipe loses, I think it would set up an excellent trilogy. And I think that would propel Stipe so far in his legendary status to have 2 major trilogies in the heavyweight division, and if he can come out victorious in both of them, like, even if he doesn't take this Ngannou fight to a trilogy, like, dude, he's put out everyone, and he's from Ohio, so shout out Ohio. He's in Cleveland. We're down in Cincinnati. Shout out Cleveland. But it's
yeah, dude. I think that so with that matchup, I just wonder. Frame-wise, I wonder if Francis could ever really do like 5 rounds worth of Stipe pace, just because the musculature and the build, I feel like, requires so much energy. And as you see that,
exactly,
like he's the most explosive athlete in the UFC's probably
ever
seen.
He did the Rosenstruck.
But yeah, dude, that was fucking scary. But when you see, I mean, Stipe is obviously a big athletic dude, but
a lot of power.
It
takes a lot to exert that power too.
Ngannou's like that 0.01% of the genetic lottery, just the freak of freaks. And I don't know if he could I don't know if
From
he
digging
can
holes,
just
man. He dig
right, exactly. That's yeah,
in his home
digging your
country.
sand and all
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
shit, yeah, he
exactly.
was dig sand and stuff like that. And like all of his if you look at all of his friends, even the dudes that aren't UFC athletes that just still live there, they're all buff. They just
Right. I
all
mean, it
are
makes perfect sense.
yeah, they can be a little out of shape, but dude, they're gigantic. Like, dude, it's different breeds.
It's
It's
just I wonder they fought what 2 years ago,
I think it
3
was
years,
3.
2 or 3 years
It's been a
ago,
minute. It's been a little
and
bit.
I think that Stipe. I mean, as you can see, the speculation for the Stipe DC one was that he took too much damage in Francis and didn't take enough time off, and that makes
Exactly.
sense to me seeing the shots that he ate in the second and the third fight because he ate big shots and didn't go down. So that
Exactly.
makes sense to me. So I think Stipe's IQ, his skill, his ability to mix it up, like his micro disciplines as far as being good at boxing, good at
Exactly.
wrestling, and being just a good athlete. I and plus he's the guy's guy. He's the people's champ. He's a firefighter. He's just a regular dad
Yep.
and fucking.
Volunteer
I'm
fighter on top of it. You know what I
exactly.
mean? Like he's not even getting
I'm
paid
pulling
for
for
it.
him hard, but Ngannou I love also. Don't get me wrong. He's a freaking murderer,
I would
but
like to see Ngannou get the title just so he can, you know what I mean, have accomplished that in his life. But I hope Stipe would get it back immediately.
right.
I'm not
I
gonna lie.
wonder if Stipe wins this fight, there's not really much else really left for. Not. There's obviously good heavyweights, but I feel like he could honestly probably be
Dude,
kind of
he
done
needs to
after that. You know what I'm saying?
leave immediately if he wins this fight.
Right.
People, they're not sleeping on Ngannou. I like to say sleeping a lot, but people look at the champ and they're automatically like, yeah, the champ. And if the champ is someone that's put some big names down like Stipe has, they're just all about it. But people gotta realize this is a whole new Ngannou. Like
Right.
and also you gotta realize Stipe hasn't fought anybody except for DC in the past, what is it, like 2 years?
2 years, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's fought the
he's
same
only
dude
fought
three
DC.
times in a row for 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah. He's been
Completely different style than Francis too.
yeah.
Obviously, you got good boxing on DC, but he doesn't have
I
that
think
KO factor
yeah.
like Ngannou does.
I think this sounds crazy, but in my logic of thinking of it, for Stipe, because he is a very precise puncher, but with DC, since DC was so small and that rounded frame, DC can move his head. You know what I mean? But Ngannou's chunky, like he's broad. He's something to
Dense.
hit. You know what I
He's
mean?
more dense for
He's
sure.
like a pillar. Like you're not gonna miss that pillar. So I think Stipe, if he can dodge those fury of insane missile Tony Stark launches that Ngannou throws, like he did against Rosenstruck, and see if one hits, if he can get rid of those and not worry about those and get into that pocket, I think it's over.
Oh, you know what? I just completely forgot. I think either guy fights John Jones right afterwards. That's what's going to happen. John Jones is like 250 pounds right now. I completely forgot about
oh
that.
yeah, you're right. No, this is what's gonna happen. You don't know what's really gonna happen? Adesanya is gonna beat Jan Blachowicz, right?
Mm.
John Jones is gonna throw a hissy fit. He's gonna cry. No, he ain't gonna come into my division. Even though he said I'm done with lightweight, I've done everything I want. He's gonna try to come back, and that's gonna be the super fight. But only thing that's gonna stop that is Dana 100% said. I can't remember where he said it on. It was a YouTube channel, but he literally said he would not do Jones versus Adesanya until he can sell out an arena. Because he said that could be the biggest fight of all time.
I could see where you're coming from there, but you're not telling me that Francis versus John Jones wouldn't be one of the biggest fights of all time?
I just don't think it'll be a good fight.
Who do you think wins?
John Jones. He would take him to the ground and submit him immediately.
But what about John Jones and Stipe?
I think he would. I think he would standing guillotine Stipe. Same way he did.
Really?
What's his name? Oh God, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Machito. Thank you. When he just dropped his body, it's just.
I don't know, man.
John Jones is a different breed, man. Especially
styles make fights, obviously, but
yeah.
I think that Stipe is a completely different animal for John than Francis would be. But I don't know,
But he beat Thiago Santos, but he was
but
very cautious with Thiago Santos. Like he even said after the fight, he wasn't. It's a black belt in Muay Thai. You know what I mean? He's not gonna I mean, that was a whole
I thought he
different
lost
breed.
that fight against Dom, to be honest. I thought John's lost that 3
It was a
rounds
close
to
fight.
2.
It could have been a draw, but they favored the champion, I think.
Of course, they always do.
Yeah.
Kind of like with I thought Gus won that first fight 3
Yeah.
rounds to 2. I really thought
Exactly.
that, but I thought that it was more apparent that Dom won. I
Yep,
only saw
yep.
it once, the Dom fight, but I think that because if he is indeed, I think he's like 250 pounds.
Mhm.
He's not going to be itching to go down to 205 anytime soon because he's put on muscle, and that's way harder to get off
Yep.
than Chubb, you know. So
Yep.
I think he's got heavyweight next, and I think either him versus Stipe or him versus Francis is a blockbuster.
Yep. I still
That-
think John
That
Jones
could
versus
do a million pay-per-view
Adesanya.
buys right there.
But John Jones versus Adesanya, I think, would shatter everything. The way they can build that fight up after that Twitter beef they had, not even a Twitter beef, John Jones is undefeated. I would just want to put that out there. That call
Yeah.
with that
Anyone who knows anything about MMA knows
Yeah.
John Jones is undefeated.
he's undefeated. That fight, they could market that beautifully. Like, that would be insane because that's one of those times when you just don't know what's going to happen. You don't know.
I disagree, man. I think Jones smokes Izzy. I really do.
Izzy's a
I
different
think-
breed, man. He's too quick for him. Look what he did against
love it.
Paulo. Like, come on.
Yeah, right. But that Kelvin Gastelum fight was super
That was
competitive.
amazing. But he's
think about-
evolved
think
since
about
then,
if John-
though. He learned so
Sure,
much
but
in that
think about
fight.
If John Jones fought Kelvin Gastelum, what would happen? You know.
Well, first of
And
all, he
granted,
wouldn't
that
even
was-
he wouldn't even bother
That
standing
was
up with him.
2
He would
years-
just
that was 2
just
years
submit
ago
him. You know
now.
what I mean? But you
At
got to
this
remember,
point.
I think that Kelvin Gastelum fight is a part of what made Adesanya who he is today because he learned so much in that fight and what his body could do and what he could endure and that he doesn't want to go back to that point of having his eyes swelling. And that's why he's so – dude, I bet if you go back in time, his reaction times in the past 3 years, the last fight he just had with Paulo would blow it out because he looked insane. I don't know if it was just higher frame rate on my TV or when I watched it, but that dude looked insanely fast. Like, I just couldn't.
That was crazy because I was drinking the freaking Borrachina Kool-Aid hard. I thought he was going to be able to. And I'm awful at predictions.
I was gonna ask you this later in the show, but did you think Conor was gonna win?
No, I am a Poirier fanboy. That's my favorite fighter, Dustin Poirier.
I don't know if you saw my
So,
story. How I was talking about it all week. That Poirier was gonna win. No, Poirier's gonna win. TKO. I knew it. It was just.
I should have put some money on it. The odds for it was like plus 900 on
I don't even.
for Poirier to win by KO or TKO.
Yeah. I was talking to
So-
my cousin. I do the predictions every week, and I was 9-11 for the whole night. Right. If I would have did a certain parlay here in my state, dude, I could have won so much money. Like,
Shoulda, coulda, woulda, man. That's the thing with gambling.
I'm
I
gonna
always
start
end up
doing it because
losing.
I decently kind of know what I'm talking about sometimes. But I mean, UFC can go anyway. You know what I mean?
Right.
You never know. But I usually know a decent way it's gonna go. Who has the advantage? What's the best thing to take? I just never go out because we don't have online gambling here. You have to actually go to the casino.
Right.
and drop
yeah,
it, you know what I
yeah.
mean, stuff
I think
like
that's
that.
how it is with. I think that's what it is in Maryland. Just
Really?
past that, like you got to go to the sports book
Yeah.
or whatever.
And
I'm good on that shit.
Yeah.
I'll just lose money doing that.
Yeah, and it sucks for me because like all my friends live in different states, and like we're in group chats. He's like, "Hey, I just won money on blah 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 the app," and I'm just like, "Dude, I can't do it. I wish I could like bet on the game just from my couch. Like, it sucks."
Yeah, that'd make life way easier,
for
wouldn't it?
sure, for sure. But now I've been betting on the stocks lately. You been getting into?
Oh yeah.
Have you been getting into that at
Nah.
all?
No,
Don't
not
chase
me,
it.
man, not me.
Don't chase
no,
it.
I'm good.
Yeah, best advice. If you weren't there, then if there's another one that come up, maybe, but you don't chase the
No,
stock.
that's the way that I felt like I missed the big wave, so
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll hedge my bets and
Yeah, I got
Keep it
lucky a
simple.
little bit. I got a little bit here and there. Nothing too crazy, but we'll see. I'm hoping AMC takes off.
I'm sure a lot of people are, man. A lot of people are.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, let's talk about your. We don't need to talk about your first fight on Contender Series against Chase Gibson. We broke that all down last time. We don't need to hear all that. But your second fight, you were here a little bit before that. I think it was like a week or two. I can't remember exactly when before that fight. Man, that was a great fight. I want to break it down. Let me give everyone some of your stats real quick. So some people don't know you. You're 10-1 now. You're 6 KOs, 2 submissions, and 3 decisions, and you're currently on 11 fight win streak. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think I'm 11-1. I could be wrong though.
Oh, you're 11-1.
I believe so. I could be wrong.
Dude, they gotta start updating that stuff. It's not your fault. They gotta start getting those stats together. But that's so funny. You don't even know. I think that's hilarious. Dude, you're so chill about it. That's the funniest thing about you.
Yeah, man. I don't harp on that shit too much.
Dude, what if you're like in an interview or something like post-fight, like, how's it feel being this? And you just say the wrong, hey, yeah, it feels great being 8-0. Sir, right. You're 14-0.
Yeah. Yeah. 11-1. I'm fairly certain. Like if I'm
that's
about
hilarious.
to meet up with a sponsor or something, I'll go gloss over, double
sure,
check
yeah.
shit. But other than that,
dude, that's hilarious. You gotta get a briefing for your own bio. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So also you were 8-0 as an amateur. Just to inform you also and everyone else.
That I do remember.
Yeah. But yeah. You kind of answered the question. I was gonna ask, like, do you use that streak? It's kind of like motivation, like that feel good moment, like to know that like no one can really touch you. That you're kind of like that alpha dog against everyone you've gone against so far.
Oh, no, I lost my pro debut. I'm 11.
No, yeah, your pro debut. Other than that, I'm saying your streak now. Your streak from here on out, because we talked last time. You learned a lot of stuff after that, and some things switched. I'm talking about from here on out. Like your streak right now, like does it feel good being like a top dog?
I don't know, man, because I tend to find things wrong with the wins. You know what I'm saying? So
I mean, I feel like every fighter does though. That's just
exactly.
You got to. Though.
I don't pay too much attention to that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice. It's better than fucking losing 11 in a row. You know what I'm saying? But
I think you will remember 0-11, 100%.
I'd have a hard time getting on Contender series with that resume. But nah, man, it's obviously my teammates, my coaches will reminisce every now and again, but it's kind of
sure.
I'm not the best at harping on shit for too long. And then but yeah, I just feel like I just have this fear of, because that's kind of what happened with my pro debut. I was coming off 8-0 MMA and I had kickboxing and boxing fights, so I think I was like 11-0 as an amateur, thinking I'm the shit, and then go get humbled out in my first pro debut. So that's just always been a fear that's stuck with me for almost 5.5 years now. So don't get me wrong, I'm proud of my accomplishments and all that, but I just have that mindset of there's a lot of work left to be done.
For sure,
always.
For sure. I mean, and that's what makes some of the best athletes. You know what I mean? Not to bring up the GOAT, but just like Michael Jordan, like he was so nitpicky. Like he could literally drop 40 and go back and watch film for 2 hours and find every single wrong thing about it. And I think that's what makes someone great. And that's what helps you find your flaws and helps you get to that point to where you don't even have to do that. You know what I mean? Like you're so confident in your ability. And I think that that's a good way to go at it. You know what I mean? I don't like a fighter going into a fight and coming out like, yeah, man, that was so clean. I hit every punch. Like, no, there's no read for that. There's no reason for that. Either you got the knockout and you can improve, or you just keep walking. And that's how I look at it. And if you do it in some spectacular way, that's awesome. Like we'll watch it over and over on Twitter, and we'll talk about it for the whole year. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And
seldom does that happen, though. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Dude, I honestly think you're gonna get one. I think you're gonna get a clean hit. Well, you haven't even got your UFC debut yet. I think you're gonna get in there and you'll get one. You'll get one that'll go viral.
Sure.
For sure.
In the debut.
I mean, look at Jimmy Flick. Like that submission went crazy on the internet.
Right. Yeah.
It was
awesome,
awesome,
a beautiful
man.
submission, man.
Oh,
that was a great triangle.
I had him on here talking about it, and just to hear him talk about it and stuff, like his mindset about how it went at it, it's just all natural for him, man. Like he's so many steps ahead against of his fighters. Like he's just a natural grappler, and he's so good at that.
Yeah, he's a cool cat. We fought on the same Contender series card.
Yep.
And just shot the shit briefly, but he's a nice guy for sure.
Jimmy the Brick Flick. Love that dude.
Yeah,
man.
he's
cool, so
man.
funny, man. He's so funny. But yeah, so are you still? I wanted to ask you, are you still working full time since you got your UFC contract?
Nah, man, retired from the
nice
from the HVAC. So just been training.
It's awesome, dude.
Hoping to make this
Congrats.
debut in the springtime. My the last two fights, I've had a bit of an injury that I'm still dealing with. I
Yep,
got
your
some
chest
cartilage
injury.
issues going on, so working around that. I'm back to training full time, but it's just working around the pain and got some back issues going on. Nothing crazy, just
For sure, for
annoying.
sure.
So
Yeah,
working with getting a medical team together so I can address this and not have to work around it and try to fix it. But
that's good. That's
cartilage
good.
is real tricky.
Yeah, I was gonna break that
So yeah,
down.
sometime in the spring would be great.
Yeah, I was gonna break that down because I wanted to bring up how that affected you in your fight with Sherrad. You were invited back to the Contender Series in November, which was your second time, and you won unanimous decision over Sherrad Blackledge. It was interesting because we all kind of knew this and predicted this from his fight before, but he kept going for the takedowns, and it looked like you were wrestling a little bit more than you really wanted to. But you have impressive power in a stand-up. Were you getting frustrated that he was trying to take it to the ground so much? And at what point did that injury, the ligament, it's a chest ligament, right? Or cartilage?
It seems to be actually rib cartilage, but it's yanking. Like, I don't have any tears in my pec. I got an MRI done, but it seems to be rib cartilage, which is
Okay,
pulling
okay.
on my pec muscle or something like that. So
If I'm
still trying to diagnose it, really.
for sure, so if I'm not mistaken, it was like around the second round when it started really kind of bothering you.
Yeah. So yeah, second round. And then towards the end of the fight, it was really killing me because it was real grapple heavy. Yeah, we knew that he was going to be grappling, but I was fine with that because I've been wrestling my
Yeah,
whole
for
life,
sure.
and I
You
I
got
would like not to I wasn't super impressed with his wrestling compared to what it was against mine. I just knew that I could out wrestle him all day, and
yeah.
obviously I did in the fight. But I just felt like even in the first round that when he was going for that clinch, he was just going to end up wearing himself out. But it was I wouldn't say it was frustrating, but I was definitely stinging him on the feet.
For sure,
And
for sure.
then I've only gone back and watched it once. I couldn't even finish it, but it's frustrating to see that I actually initiated grappling like at the end of the third, uh, when I should have broken
So I
fire, and
was
I
gonna
think I could have
ask
gotten the
you.
finish if I did that. Yeah, because I stung him with a knee. I think at the beginning of the third round, and I
Okay.
had him up against the cage and went for a takedown when really I should have broken fire.
Yeah.
And because like I said, I just felt like my stand-up was on a different level than his.
Yeah.
But you live and you learn, and that's the fight game, man. So kind of makes me sick going back and watching it. So I haven't finished the third round yet,
I feel
but
that.
that's how this shit goes. Could have gone way worse, but it wasn't definitely wasn't my best performance. But I'm typically fucking sourpuss after decision wins. So my wife was like, no matter what happens, you got to enjoy this shit. So I did, and
Yeah, I saw that on the
luckily
interview
we
thing.
got the contract too, which is nice.
Yeah, man.
So
Mellowed it out
not
a
a
little
bad day in
bit.
the
I
office.
mean, yeah, you were super hard on
Absolutely.
yourself last time you were here about your fight. But like I said, that just goes again. That just goes with that mentality of like you always got to be better, and like it's better to have than not to have. You know what I mean?
Right,
For
for
sure.
sure.
Um,
So,
so are you gonna be fighting at 145 or 155?
45.
Feel more comfortable at
Most of
45?
my most of my pro fights have been at 45,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that I have a big size and strength advantage because I feel like I'm strong at 55, and I know I can make the weight. It's going to be a bitch, but I can make it, and it's a game of inches,
Yeah.
So might as well while I can make the weight, go down there, and if I feel like major shit, and then I'll come back up, but I don't think that'll be the case. I think I can get down there, and I've done it before, and have had great performances at 45. So I think my speed holds up, and my power will be on another level. My strength will be on another level, and just about being committed and a professional year round, and not being a fat fucking blowing up in between fights, really,
For sure,
which
for
is always
sure.
tempting.
Um, yeah, for sure. But what I was gonna ask you is it's kind of a hard question. I was kind of trying to figure out how to phrase it, but this is the best way I could. So like you have a better record than most people in the UFC, like in your debuting in the UFC. You know what I mean? Do you feel like you should be getting like bigger fights, like slash opportunities, with that record? Because like some of these people aren't 10-1. You know what I mean? Like you can sell a 10-1 fight. You know what I mean? Like that sounds interesting. Someone's 10-1, maybe going against someone that's like 9-2 or something like that. Like put the stakes on the line. Do you feel like you should get a bigger fight starting out?
It's hard to say. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to that, but then you also get guys who are like a lot of guys who are getting in the UFC who have like over 20 fights, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like they could be 20-6, but they haven't lost in 5 years, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, 100%.
But so, no, whatever gets me that bell quickest, and honestly, you know, it's one of those things that it's fights that make sense. So
yeah,
that's it.
I just think it would be kind
it's
of
a delicate balance of you know, taking fights that make sense and also not being afraid to take top ranked guys, because you know this is the biggest league that it is, really.
Yeah.
So
I just think it would be a discredit if you had to go up against. I don't want to name any fight specific, but it would be a discredit if you had to go up against someone that was like, you know what I mean, like 7-3, or not even that. Someone just has not a lot of wins and and just a ton of losses, and it's just their first time because. Like I said, if you're going against someone that's level 1, you got to be fighting someone that's got something at stake. Also, that's got a decent record like that. That's the one problem they had last year with all these fill-ins and stuff like that. They were just a lot of mismatched fights. I felt like there was a lot of fights out there that should have just been canceled, and it wasn't fair for the other fighter, and they were just doing it for the opportunity, for the money, and I think there should be something that's like, all right, you. This isn't a good matchup for you. Because all it is right now is just Sean Shelby, Dana White in a room with some other people. You know what I mean? There's really no full system. There's no point system. There's no, like, ratios from win to losses. Like, it's all by word of mouth and, like, what they're seeing. You know what I mean?
right, yeah, and I guess there's some type of ranking going on. I honestly have no idea how that shit works.
Well, obviously the rankings and stuff like that, but like how Michael Chandler, because you know Michael Chandler's now 4th, and Conor McGregor's fell down to 6, and Dan Hooker's now at 8, and people are kind of upset.
No one fucking pays attention to that shit. I hate to say, like it matters, but it
matters in the top 5.
Like maybe the average person who's fucking sitting on their couch watching ESPN, but like guys like you and I, it's like. That shit doesn't matter much, you know. It's all 100%, fucking number next to your name.
Yeah,
it matters. Yeah, like top 5 and like for the sake of jockeying for title.
It's just to keep a consistent, like not just to keep it up in the air, to like randomly pull out a fighter and be like, yeah, I think you should fight him. You should do that. I mean, even though they just did that with Michael Chandler, and it backfired. I thought that was
honestly gonna be. I'm a huge Chandler fan. I've been watching him since his first fight with one of the Pitbull brothers, can't remember his name, like way back. This was like 2010 or 11. And now I've watched both his fights with Eddie like live way back in the day. But I thought Dan Hooker was going to be an interestingly bad matchup because of
his
knees. His length and his knees are killer. But boy, he came in and slept him. Man.
He is a brawler. Like that boy can brawl, and see him fall like that. After how much damage he took from Poirier and didn't get knocked. Poirier just knocked out Conor McGregor, and he couldn't knock out Dan Hooker. Michael Chandler just came out and knocked him out in the first round. Like,
you wonder, man, like, maybe, I mean, even though that fight wasn't a year, like, those kind of fights change you forever, you know?
No, 100%.
Those wars change you forever.
100%.
So,
just like with Tony Ferguson. I don't think Tony Ferguson will ever be the same now.
I'd have to, unfortunately, agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, after he took all that damage from, you know who, we all know what it was, but I just think it's kind of too late for that at this moment. Like, I think that's still shit.
Biggest tragedies in MMA is that him and Khabib never went down, because I still think like style fight that was so interesting. Just Tony
but after
Khabib
what Oliveira did to Tony. I can only imagine what Khabib would have done to him. It would have been like tinfoil.
That's a post. Excuse me. That's Tony post to that Gaethje fight, though. You know.
Yeah.
Which obviously he's not getting dropped in the Chuck Oliveira fight, but
rumor has it he was trying to fight him. He was trying to like spar with him after the fight in the locker room.
With who?
Tony was trying to spar with Charles after the fight in the locker room, saying like
fun.
No, it's Tony. That's not gonna be for fun.
Right.
He wants to.
He's a different breed, man.
Yeah, he wants to fight. He felt like he was on the ground the whole time. Like in my eyes, I think Tony had so much adrenaline, and every time he gets pumped up for a fight, it all literally comes out after the fight. That's why he throws so many punches and he exerts so much aggression into and force. And I think that's what he likes. And I think it was such a different fight for him, not to fight and take someone to the ground and have that his blood pumping like that. He was just pancaked the whole time. Like Oliveira manhandled him. It was just, it was very interesting. That was one of the biggest surprises I had for the year. I did not see that one coming.
I think you do Dustin and Chuck for the vacant belt if Habib is indeed done.
Who?
I think you do Charles and Dustin. Yeah. For the vacant one, and then you do Gaethje and Chandler for number one contender, and then maybe you either do the Diaz trilogy with Conor, or you do Tony and Conor just for a fun fight. I don't want to see Conor and Dustin right away.
No,
like that.
Save
maybe
that.
later on. If
I want to see it, but save it.
Yeah.
This is my theory. I think for the title, if Khabib doesn't come back, it should be a rematch with Gaethje versus Dustin. That fight was good. Justin is a completely different fighter.
Hey, he's coming off a loss, though.
Yeah.
And Charles is on like an absurd fight streak and just dominated Tony, too.
Yeah. Now hear me out.
So
now I think Conor should fight Nate, and then I think Michael Chandler should fight Charles. And Charles versus them should be the number one contender / but you can't really make that the number one contender because whoever's really fighting for the title whoever loses that's still gonna be the number one contender because the division it's kind of like a refresh with the like when someone leaves, kind of like with the flyweights. Same thing happened when
I don't know,
Judo left.
I say you go Charles because just the win streak and all that versus Dustin, and then I think I really just.
Do you really think Charles gets a chance that fast for just beating Tony? I feel like he needs to beat one person. If he beats any of the people we just named,
dominating,
including Nate Diaz, I will even throw Nate Diaz in there, even though he wouldn't fight. That wouldn't even mean anything to anything. I feel like even if he lost that fight, it wouldn't mean anything, I don't think. That's why it's stupid. But any of those fights with any of those people, I think it would be great. I think Charles has a chance to be a star, and I think he has a chance for the UFC to breed him into a star. But I do think they should wait till he learns a little bit more English. Because with Khabib realized that early on. And once he
never spoke English, really, though.
Who?
And Anderson really didn't. He had a translator essentially his whole career.
In my mind, Anderson Silva is different because he did speak. He spoke his own language, and we all understood it. Like, we all knew what Anderson was saying. Like, even though if he was speaking a different language, we understood him. Like, he would go in between with it. But I feel like Khabib knew early on in his career, like, if I could speak English, I could probably get a lot more people to watch my fights. And it worked for him. And I think Charles needs to make that transition because he could be huge over here, man. He really could. For sure.
I agree. Lightweight's crazy. But I got to bounce soon, buddy, and I think my phone's about to die. So I very much appreciate you having me on.
Of course, man.
We'll definitely be in touch. I'd love to come on again soon. We'll shoot the shit again. It's been great.
Exactly, man. Yeah, for sure. Before you go, any timeline on your UFC debut? Any this year at some point? Beginning of the year, second half?
Hopefully spring. You know, like I said, I got an appointment next week with my doctor to see what's up. Cool. With a different doctor, getting another opinion on it. But hopefully spring. Check me out on Instagram at Top Gun Tuck. Yep. Check out my website, tuckerlutz.com. I'm going to be dropping some merchandise next week. Shirts, crew.
Saw your new logo. It's nice, man. It's cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I appreciate that. So
I got the links down in the description and everything. All right, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yep. Well, I'll catch you later, man. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. See you, man. Be good.
Tucker, Top Gun Lutz, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for coming on the show, man. Really appreciate it. So yeah, man, no UFC until next week. But I wanted to talk about UFC 257 real quick. I told you so. Dustin Poirier is the man. I tried to tell y'all. No one listens. Few people listen. But man, what a crazy night that was. I'll break down the main card. Just because, we got Marina Rodriguez. She won TKO against Amanda Ribas, which was incredible. Andrew Sanchez won TKO against Makhmud Muradov. And then Jessica I won decision Oh no, sorry, my apologies. Jessica I lost in decision to Joanne Calderwood. And dude, Joanne Calderwood, I'm a fan of hers now, man. She's so chill and soft spoken, and then she just gets in the octagon and goes off. Like, it's incredible. Absolutely incredible. And then, as we all know, Michael Chandler destroyed Dan Hooker in the first round with an incredible punch, put him out. And then Dustin the Diamond Poirier with a beautiful, 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 beautiful combination in the second round to put down the notorious Conor McGregor, sending him to 22-5, and Dustin Poirier advancing to 27-6. Man, it's going to be insane to see what the lightweight has in store for us. I'm excited. I'm pumped, and I don't know about you guys, but this year is going to be insane for the lightweights. Whoever comes out with the lightweight title, being Dustin or whoever it is, they're going to have a lot. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be good, though. It's going to be real good. But yeah, I wanted to hit out some other events that are coming up. Next week, February 6th, we got Alistair Overeem versus Alexander Volkov. Great fight. And then at the co-main, you got Corey Sandhagen against Frankie Edgar. Incredible fights that night. I'm super pumped for it. Some other big names in there. And then February 13th, UFC 258. Really pumped for that. What time does that start? What's the exact date of that? Sorry. 258 is, September 13th. Kamaru Usman versus Gilbert Burns. We finally get that fight. And then we have Uriah Hall versus Chris Weidman in the co-main event. Kevin Gastelum also fighting on that card. Pedro Munoz. Stat card. And then coming up on February 20th, we got Curtis Blades versus Derek Lewis. The rematch. I think that would be incredible. It's going to be a really good fight. And then, as we all know, UFC 259, March 6th, could go down as the greatest day in UFC history. We got light heavyweight champion John Blackledge putting up his title against Israel Adesanya. We got the co-main event for women's featherweight, Amanda Nunes putting up her title against Megan Anderson. And then also, we have the bantamweight champion Petr Yan putting up his title against the skillful Aljamain Sterling. Like, holy crap. That's, March 6th is going to be something else. Israel Adesanya, Amanda Nunes, Aljamain Sterling, Petr Yan, just name drop after name drop. But I'm really excited, super excited for what the UFC has in store. And I just want to thank you guys for coming on and checking out Pound for Pound. And as I said earlier, if you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, any of those streaming platforms, please go to our YouTube and hit that subscribe button and hit that bell notification. Much appreciated. And thanks, guys, as always. Shout out to Manscaped. Use code Pound for Pound at manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping. That's code Pound for Pound. It's right here. If I can figure, right there. All right, guys. I appreciate it. Enjoy the Saturday off with no UFC. But yeah, I'm your host, Jalen Walker, and this is Pound for Pound. Thanks, guys.